All right. Sound should be all good. And since it's been 2 weeks now, I think it's probably best to do a little short recap on how we got here. So, we all started in Valdiras, home to the Order of the Gilded Hand, each one of you with your own reasons for being in the city, but all of you connected in some way. That connection would quickly become apparent as some of you were called to a meeting with a local apothecary by the name of Lorenzo. Others might have stumbled upon this connection, as one way or another you all ended up within his small shop. Lorenzo had just been attacked and robbed. The solemn Valdis had returned, and in his wake he left behind incredibly rare spell and medicinal components. Somehow, somebody knew or were the luckiest criminals alive to rob Lorenzo for these items specifically. Escucho, you had been called for your skills at tracking and maneuvering through the wilderness, an opportunity to make some coins, as Lorenzo had need of your services. Ignis, a master at your local order, sent you specifically to buy these components. While at Sano, you had been summoned as the local medic and one of the few who would work with those branded to provide services. These components would have gone a long way to furthering that work. Christian and Shadron, the two of you mostly stumbled onto the situation. Shad, you were on your way back to do some minor trading as you normally would do with Lorenzo, and actually had gotten your hand on one of these pouches of components, while Hersian had merely heard and watched the crooks escape, intervening fast enough, however, to actually save Lorenzo's life. Ultimately, after some conversation, it was decided that you five would track down Valdis, or at the very least, the wake of life left behind on his path, so that you may collect and gather, to your heart's content, these rare herbs, while Lorenzo would attempt to get to the bottom of the situation within Valdiras, to see if those criminals truly were the luckiest of all time, or if there was another game at foot. So, you would head out that very evening after acquiring a wagon, some horses, and basic provisions to aid your journey, as it was likely to take a few weeks there and back. So, we pick up with, I think we did the math on this. You kept some of the gold coins, Ignis, you had used to buy a wagon, some provisions, and some horses. I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Like 2/3 kept and 1/3 would have been handed back.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to carry too much inventory, because it's a modest amount, but it's not like just we'll be out in the wilderness. I don't want to take a risk of getting caught up by bandits.
Fair
Just
enough.
having extra targets on our backs. That's
Yeah.
that's what I would have suggested to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's see. Yeah, so 29 gold to buy outright. And then, okay, all right. So you own these horses, and you own the wagon itself. Okay, so as you start to exit the city and out into the wilderness surrounding Valdiras, what would you like to do as your exploration activities? These are ways for you to, it's kind of like a passive thing. As you make steady progress towards your goal, this gives you opportunity to kind of, you can hustle, right? You can move at double speed. You can investigate while moving. Follow the expert would be choosing an ally, and allowing them to lead the group. So
it's only possible to do one thing, probably, right?
let me see. So
Is it maybe one for each of the characters, or is it like one for the group in total?
yeah, let's double check this because I'm pretty sure.
I think we all need to stay at the same speed. So if someone is hustling, we all need to hustle. I assume.
Oh, okay.
We're on a wagon, aren't we?
Yeah, you are in a wagon. So, yeah, so it is only one.
It's one for the party.
Actually, let's see.
Can't remember if I said this last session, but the first thing Isano will be doing is handing each of you a minor elixir of life. These are alchemical ones, so they only last a day, but I'll be doing that each morning.
Nice. Oh, so exploration activities, no, this is one for each character. So, yeah. You all have options here. You're riding together on a wagon, so some of them will be a bit difficult, right? Like, specifically the stuff that requires you to move at half speed, right? Defend would be a bit difficult. Stuff like that, but
yeah, defend is kind of like a walking thing anyway, though. Like you're not really like raising a shield on a, on a wagon.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know.
Scouting.
If I can understand it correctly, like a trained stalker only like triggers an exploration when I do the avoiding notice action.
Let's see.
Or does it like, is it like a passive thing when I can like scout ahead and also like benefit from trained stalker?
Yeah, let me read it really quick. So, terrain stalker. Select one type of difficult terrain while undetected by all non-allies. You can sneak without attempting a stealth check as long as you move no more than 5 feet. And do not move within 10 feet of an enemy at any point during your movement. Okay. So yeah, this would count. Select one type. So while you're undetected, yeah, it would essentially give you stealth. So this is like an automatic thing.
Yeah, but like next sentence, this also allows you to automatically approach a creature within while avoiding notice during exploration.
Oh, let's see. So it allows you to within while avoiding notice. As long as they aren't actively searching or on guard. Yeah. So as long as they're not actively searching or on guard, this will allow you to get up to 15 feet.
Yeah, but only if I do the avoiding notice exploration action.
Yes, exactly.
No. Oh, well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, while avoiding notice triggers during exploration. Yep. So you would need to be avoiding notice while traveling, which would bring you down to half speed. Yeah. So.
Okay, but I didn't read the avoiding notice.
I wonder if there's a way for could we maybe spend another 2 or 3 gold and get a Scoocho a separate horse so you can scout up ahead? Will that be a possible option? That's kind of splits us, so that's going to be a problem keeping in touch.
Yeah.
I think what you could do is hustle to go ahead of the party to double your speed, and then scout as.
You can only take one action at a time, so like if you hustled, then you'd have to wait another exploration to go, then avoid notice.
Yeah, it's your decision.
Yeah. So we as a party need to like decide if we want to move like at full speed or like half speed or like double speed. I think before we decide on our actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the hustle is only for minutes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only for a short period of time. It's like a burst.
So
So it's
Yeah.
really half speed or full speed.
now I was looking at the investigate one for anything that might turn up, because we can do that while moving or not traveling at half speed as well. But
Yep.
No use. Okay. Might just
Well,
take a
it might be
breather.
worth traveling at half speed to get the benefits of scouting or investigating.
I think if we're going half speed, there's two things we can do. Like there's detect magic is at half speed, investigate is at half speed, and
like cover
the two
tracks would also be at
lowest
half speed, or like find tracks, I think also.
We'll be following a road, won't we? That remember.
Yeah. You'll initially be
So-
following.
Yeah. So for that, we don't really need to cover our tracks or anything.
Ah, yeah, true.
This scout, just keeping a lookout would be useful as well.
The other one is travel at half speed, but if we break it down with a sort of a rota of who's driving, we don't have to stop.
The horses need a rest once in a while.
Fine.
Yeah. Basically, the question is, do you want to keep an eye on your surroundings as you travel, which would require, keeping an eye on any way, like investigating your surroundings, scouting if you want to send someone up ahead or stay behind, detecting magic, defending yourself, which I guess is a little weird to get the benefits of raising a shield. That would only benefit some people, but yeah, doing those types of things, searching, right? If you want to do those things, you have to move at half speed. If not, then we can just proceed forward at full movement, but you basically don't. It's basically like using your passive rather than an active check.
Well, the like general area, like how safe or unsafe is it?
Leaving just immediately should be pretty safe for a while.
Yeah, because then I would suggest that we like 1 or 2 days from the city, there would probably not be much to worry about. But after that, when we get more into like the wilderness and of like the well-traveled roads, we will probably want to like sense direction and search for like herbs or traps or scout or defend or do stuff like that. That would be my suggestion.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go with that.
So initially, we'll be moving at full speed until we get to the point where
Why don't we go with follow the expert? Because isn't I've forgotten the name. Isn't Escucho scout and all these?
Yeah, but I don't think it's possible to be expert level 1. At least I'm not. I'm only trained.
The ally must learn a skill.
ally must be at least an expert in the skill.
Well, follow the expert. Yeah, okay.
I think just moving at regular speed until for like a day or so seems like the most sensible choice. Like speaking of the character.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's all good, then we shall proceed forward at regular speed.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Famous last words.
Yeah, no shit. So, perfect. So, trusting your natural intuition as you continue to travel ahead, you move at full speed, right? No issues. You're not going to hold the horses back. You're not going to take it too safe because the immediate surrounding area of Valdiras is quite safe as it is. So, as the 5 of you get onto the road, who is leading the horses, by the way? Who has the reins? Because this matters, I believe.
Never been particularly good with animals, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Escucho would prefer to be on the lookout.
I've got it in the
Whether that goes
backstory, but I don't know if I've got a particular skill for it.
Would it be okay? Just offhand, would it be under nature or survival, like handling animals?
Let's see. So
Because we don't have animal exploration or something here. So
yeah, if
And
nobody's
use
found-
deception as
Yeah.
my key modifier. I'll drive.
yeah.
lie to the horses, like
Give him
Fool
a
them into
carrot
thinking I'm
stick.
competent.
like diplomacy. I talk with the horses.
All right. So this would be. Let's see. I think this would be survival based on the way the skills are chosen.
okay. I'd say Ignis is probably not going to be doing horse stuff because he's not very adept at survival. So he'd probably be like, "So one of you can take the horses. I'm just gonna keep a lookout or check for signs and watch the money."
I mean, Shad's got a 0 in both survival and nature. I'll do it if nobody else does it because I probably have the least to contribute to the other elements.
Yeah, it's got a
Ignis
+1
is
in survival.
Ignis is trained in nature, so I if there's no one else, then I can just have him do it. I think.
It's survival though.
Yeah, if it's survival, then yeah, hands up. I got nothing.
I think we
Like-
made the right choice going out into the wilderness. Here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a wise decision.
Well, okay, like if as Gucci realizes that the party is like really bad at horses, he could take the reins with like a shrug and like a eye roll, like what clowns
Perfect.
are on this card
Yeah,
right now.
Perfect.
There's nobody has ever ridden with a horse.
All right. Let's see what that survival check looks like.
Valdiras is a city of laws, not a city of horses.
I love how we're all.
Wow. There we go.
Ooh,
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be a good session, you know. So, with a total of 24, yeah, Scucho, you're very familiar with horses, right? You know, you've ridden, you know, in many ways, and this isn't your first time, you know, leading a wagon. So with an almost expert air to you, you take the reins and immediately spur the horses forward. So, yeah, you all continue to travel and start to make your way further and further from the safe city walls of Valdiras, right? You are immediately hit by the fact that there's not a lot of settlements. Typically, when a city gets to a certain size, there's a sprawl that kind of builds up around the main city walls that were, you know, first built. Valdiras does not have that, right? Once you are out of the city, you're not necessarily out into the wild, but there is no kind of continuing surrounding towns or villages built up around it. It is basically a key central figure. But even still, a day passes, no issues at all. You are masterfully leading these horses. Every now and then you'll stop and you'll survey your area just long enough to give the horses a bit of rest. You don't want to run them down on a trip that, you know, is going to take you quite some time, and you'll need them on the way back. So, and you find that you're basically alone. You have never run across anybody else's path on the way into the city. As you start to make your way out, it is just the 5 of you. One evening, or the first evening, you'll stop, settle the wagons and horses, you know, somewhere just off the path, and rest for the evening. Everything is clear. The next day, you'll get back to it. Escucho, having masterfully reined the horses in the previous day, will continue to do so with no bother. Early part of the day will pass, and come just about midday, I'll need you all to roll me perception checks. You privately rolled again. I need you to show me. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
was trying to make sure my rage was.
No
It
problem.
wasn't working in the test.
All right. Well, it would seem on this trip that everybody except for Escucho are busy
Ignis.
with other things. You're focused maybe on the trip at hand. It's a bit like a long car ride. You try to get busy and try to help the time pass as best as possible. Maybe you're having a conversation amongst yourselves. But for you all, it's for everybody except for Escucho. It's just it's a casual ride. You're conversating, maybe playing with a deck of cards or some sort, just something to keep your mind busy, reading a book, any of those things. But Escucho, you see as you crest over a hill, looking down into the valley below, you can't see the source of it directly, but you can see a lot of dust kicked up. You can only assume that something is on approach, another wagon, another traveling team. And they are, they're making the usual, like dust up as they travel along the dirt road. You have some space. Again, you can't see the wagon or whatever is making this, but you can see, like, you get a peek of the top, right? The dust kind of hanging in the air, and in your time, that is surely a sure sign of something on the way.
And they're like in front of us and like probably approaching.
Yeah, they're like down in the valley below. You can't see them just yet, because it is a bit hill-like, right? So there's ups and downs on the way, but you can see the dust trail left behind them in the distance. So, but yeah, you get the feeling that they're coming this way based on how thick it is closer to you, and the lightness that hangs in the back.
Yeah. Then Escucho would probably like give the reins to the person closest to him, which I would just like roll as a like 1d4, I think.
Yeah, that's what we're on for. Yeah.
So give it to Ignis. Like just
perfect.
Like just put the reins into the hand. Like talk to the group. I think there's something in the front. Be careful. And Escucho, just without saying another word, like jumps off the wagon and like climbs up a tree, or like lays low,
Okay.
like in a brush, or like in underwoods to like have the train stalker.
Absolutely. So you stop the wagon at this point, or is it continuing?
I stopped the wagon, hand over the reins.
Okay.
And there's definitely
Okay.
time for like another person to like ask Escucho what he saw, something like that.
Alright, Ignis can take the reins and just stop the animal, or no?
Well, Escucho said he stopped the animal. Yeah.
He stopped
said
earlier.
the
Okay,
animal.
sorry,
Yeah,
he stopped. Okay,
yeah.
he stopped. Yeah, all right.
Stopped it, hands it over, and then, the four of you see, like, just for a moment, hey, something's coming, and then boom, Escucho is out. And before you get a chance to like really take a look, he kind of disappears into a bit of the underbrush and start to take a location. What are the four of you doing? I mean, this sudden information, the wagon stopping, and then Escucho just bouncing from it. Is there anybody doing anything else, or are you just like, okay, we'll see what happens here?
Maybe just like unsheathing a weapon just in case. That would be, or like having a weapon ready at hand and keeping an eye out, I guess.
Okay. So we'll see. You've got your weapon
Shuttle.
drawn. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll draw. Ignis is gonna just like uncoil the monkey's fist, because it's, again, maybe it's not gonna be a sword fight. Maybe he'll just be able to knock people out. He's not super keen on doing more murders at this point. But yeah, just unsheath the monkey's fist and scratch his head, And like, well, maybe we should prepare.
All right.
Should
Shad. Yeah, I
Shad's
remember we're
gonna
doing the plus thing. Sorry.
Shad's gonna sidle up onto the front wagon bench, and he's gonna say to he goes, "What? Why don't I take those for you? Because he's not going to be great up front, and he's going to be at the back of anything that kicks off anyway."
Good man. He'll hand over the reins and pop down from the wagon and just, I guess, let's it take cover beside the wagon? No, he's not gonna take cover. He's just gonna stand beside one of the horses, like just outside the wagon. That's it.
Okay. So are you attempting to make yourself like inconspicuous, or like are you
Not
on
like
defense?
he's not inconspicuous, just like he's not sneaky. He's wearing heavy, like he's wearing chainmail, so he's just gonna stand next to the horse, and and just keep an eye out, basically.
Okay, no problem.
Assuming if there's an attack that comes, it'll come towards him. So yeah.
All right. It's Anna.
I think it'd be best if we, if we carry on as if we are just doing. If we were all just stopped, if the wagon is stopped here, it would be far more suspicious than if we were moving. So perhaps we should carry on slowly.
That is not a bad point. We can walk slowly with just lead the horses, like just let the horses get some rest. He's gonna look up at the guys. So.
Okay.
Yes, just not too fast, but not stationary, as if we were about to maybe ambush whoever's coming.
Fair enough. So, instead of stopping the wagon entirely, it'll just be kind of creeping along, right? Allowing the horses to kind of lead more than anything else, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, Hersian, I thought you saw you post.
Yeah, but it doesn't really apply anymore to what he was going to do.
Even what are you thinking?
Because initially he was just going to jump on out and just draw his halberd and walk forward.
Okay, perfect.
But that doesn't really make sense now that the cart's moving,
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, so, allowing the horses to kind of lead themselves, and they're not in a particular rush. You're not pushing them forward, so they're traveling along, but they're not, we'll say moving, maybe at like quarter speed, right? Like easy enough to kind of follow behind. Scucho, you kind of see it from the brush, and you figure it'd be easy enough to kind of continue to travel alongside them with no issues. So. It takes a few moments, but finally, cresting over one of the hills below, you see what on approach looks to be a very fancy wagon. There are warriors at the front of it, wearing heavy armor, essentially kind of escorting what appears to be a fine wagon. A few more moments pass before they're about 50 feet ahead of you. And the lead soldier will kind of take notice of you all. And you immediately see that he puts a hand up. Like, he just holds his right hand up in the air. And the wagon kind of comes to a slow crawl as well. No matter what, this would have to happen, specifically because the road that you're on, the dirt path, is probably not big enough for two wagons to easily, at pace, go side by side. You'd probably have to slow down just to make it by each other, safely. So, Shad.
We're still about 50 feet or so.
Yeah, 50 feet or so, and they've essentially come to like a crawl as well, right? So they're slowly on approach, but we'll say they're at 50 feet at this point.
And who's is Chad's sat next to who at the moment? Is it Ignis still?
Well, I think Ignis
I
is
think
out the cart.
Ignis
right?
is on foot. Yeah, he's been walking alongside the horses on foot. I think it's probably Izano next to Shadow.
Yeah, probably Itzano
or
Hersian.
Hersian.
Yeah, one of the two.
Zano's still in the cart.
Hey, boys. Just take it easy. Does anybody have a bow?
I got a sling.
Okay.
Okay,
Here's
perhaps.
what I'm thinking. A warning shot between the eyes, and then we gun this thing.
Do you recognize the armor or the wagon?
I'm pulling your leg, boys. We'll just drive casual.
Okay. So
Why do I get the feeling that you would have been perfectly happy to do the first thing that you suggested?
No, now why would you say such a thing? I'm just pulling your leg. We're a friendly group here, and that's the impression. We're smiling, we're laughing, we're no harm to that bunch of heavily armed folks up there.
You're wearing a mask. Are you smiling?
Let's drive casual.
How would we know?
Just drive casual.
Alright, let's see. I'd say like Ignis is gonna keep walking, he's gonna like hold up his arm and go like hail and well met or something to that effect. Once they come closer, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah, so nobody else wants to do anything, then you'll continue to travel along. I'll say at this point, go ahead and give me another perception check, all of you, to see if you see anything in particular. Very nice.
It's a nice bell curve.
Yeah. So, we'll go from basically the bottom up, right? So, Shad, the mask you're wearing is kind of giving you a bit of problems here, right? We'll say it's not blinding you or anything, but as you try to get a good look on approach, we'll actually say that your angle is mostly covered up by the fact that all of these, these 6 well-armored, plate-armored knights are essentially kind of blocking your path to get any more specific details. Escucho, you've got the underbrush kind of dealing with you, so like you're wanting to maintain that stealth, but also try to get a good look. And in this case, the stealth is pretty difficult to maintain while also giving you a good look, right? So we'll say that with the 10, you probably erred on the side of stealth rather than visuals here. Beyond that though, Ignis, you have seen wagons like this before. Seeing the fact that they are well armored, you've seen this type of armor. This is all familiar to you. You've seen it in the city a number of times. Whoever is in this wagon is a member of the Order of the Gilded Hand, and they're just making their way back. For Hercian, you see that the well-armored knights do not have an aggressive intent here, right? They're also kind of calling to hail. It seems as though there's no like intention to bother you, right? They don't have like an aggressive posture to them. They're not like pulling out weapons or holding their hands on their weapons or anything along those lines. And you know that they probably would be, considering Ignis is walking side the wagon with his weapon drawn. So you get the feeling that if there was any aggressive intent here, it would have been displayed. And it's Sano. Not only have you seen this wagon before, you've seen this particular wagon before. You are familiar with its owner. You have now stumbled into Lord Francisco Alcon. He is a high-ranking member of the Order of the Gilded Hand. The reason you've seen this cart, this wagon, and you know who it belongs to is because this is one of the few members of the Order who will actually take time out of his day to come down to the poor section of the city, the branded people, and give charity, surprisingly enough. This is not something that happens often. Order members, people of high status, never rub shoulders with the low-end people. But this guy does, and it is harmful to his reputation, and yet he still does it. And in a city like Valdiras, that is very strange. And so, with that information at hand, as they approach, is there anything that wants to be shared between you all?
It's Arno's doffing his hat.
Ignis is probably just gonna sheath his, or like wrap up his weapon again, and assume like a less aggressive posture, I guess. He's gonna just ask if anyone recognizes, or like let's just assume, like he's gonna ask if anyone recognizes any of the armor or the wagons, because he doesn't directly.
Yes, that's Lord Alcon's wagon. Show you respect. He's a good man.
Yeah, I will say, probably at the mention of it, for... We'll say there's a connection here for 2 others. Ignis, you just know this name. You know this figure. Basically for the same reasons, you know. It's, you know, some people would... Depending on who you're around, right? Some people are going to have some very negative opinions about him, specifically for his interaction with the branded people of the city. But some people are going to have great opinions of him. So feel free to, you know, choose which one that fits. And Escucho. Well, fuck. You're hiding in the underbrush. So. Damn.
Well, if you let Shad use an action, Shad can recount this to Escucho using message.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll allow you to do that. So. Well then, having heard this information, Escucho, this name to you is very familiar. This is a name from your, maybe not recent past, but, you know, or history. A key figure in the quote-unquote war that you yourself fought for some time. To you, this name, this person, is a villain, absolutely. For the things he's done to your people, your, I don't know, comrades, I guess you could call. Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah. How does is there like a reply as well in the message of Pathfinder?
I believe there is a reply.
Cantrip.
Let's see. Because we just did this last night. The target can give a brief response as a reaction, or as a free action on their next turn if you wish. But they must be able to see you and be within range to do so. Range for it is 120 feet, and I'm assuming if you're able to see the card, you're able to see them, right? So, yeah, so you can respond.
Yeah, and what was the exact message that was passed along?
Just the ID of the guy, I think. It's
yeah, the name, who he is. What to expect.
Then the short reply, he's dangerous. And Escucho would definitely sneak closer to like him specifically, like
Okay.
within like this like 10 feet limit he can safely do with his Terrain Stalker.
Okay. Yeah, so you try and get closer.
Shad is going to pass that around to the Zarno's close to him. He's going to pass that to him under sort of like the disguise of a bit of a dirty joke. He's telling him, recounting a silly, a ridiculous story from the continent of Locke that he's left.
Okay. So you get closer.
And like, how many people are in like his caravan? How many
his
soldiers?
caravan, there are 6 heavily armored knights. They are wearing plate mail, right? Basically the nicest, most kind of heavy armor that you could find. There are 6 mounted on horses. And in the back of the wagon, there are 2 sitting on the rear. It looks like there's like a small space for 2 to sit in the back to kind of watch the rear. But they are less armored. Still nicely armored, but no way you could sit at the back of this wagon wearing plate armor like that. So they're dressed a little bit less. But beyond that is just a nice wagon. You can't see him in particular. You just get the feeling that it's his wagon, so he must be inside, right?
Yeah, and is this does the wagon like look special or like recognizable, or is it like a pretty standard wagon? Like,
yeah, so there's a standard look to it. With the time you've spent in Valdiras, you would have seen this make. But the thing that sets it apart, the reason that Itzano knows who this cart belongs to, is because right alongside there is a crest, and that crest denotes the lord or the member of the order whose wagon this belongs to. So it's almost like a, I guess like the best example is like a government car, and you just recognize the plates on this one, right?
yeah, right.
Or Itzano at the very least does. But yeah, as you look at it, very simple, well-built make, but the crest itself is what gives it away.
Yeah, then I want to like memorize this crest. If I can see
Oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it won't take you too long. You take a look at it. It's the A of his last name with like a large circle around it, kind of ornate, carved into the wood of the wagon. So finally, they get to the point where they're about 10 feet away, and the lead knight in heavy armor will call out as they slowly pass by. Kind of hailing you all. Hail.
I guess Ignis is gonna respond to the hail. He's hold his arm up. Hail. As he knows their gilded hand now, so he's just gonna adopt a not like semi-deferential, just respectful, polite kind of greeting, like healthy journey to the gilded hand. And if he gets if they're going slow enough that he can catch make a small conversation, he's gonna ask if he's gonna just ask where they're coming from. Just
okay.
Where we're headed out of Valdiras. Where are you journeying from? Is the road safe?
Yeah, as you call out to them, their entire caravan will stop, right? All the knights will stop, the wagon itself will stop, and the 2 soldiers on the back will, make it very apparent that they have kind of leaned over the side and are keeping watch on what is happening around. But the lead one, you can't see, his face is covered in a plate helm itself, right? So he'll lift it up and you'll kind of get a quick look. He's got a very typical strong knight look, right? Nothing really sets him apart. So you're asking where they're coming from, how the travel was.
Mostly just to ask the condition of the road, just kind of not so much being nosy for the sake of being nosy. He is interested, but he's mostly going to word it in a way that's we're headed the way you're coming from. Is how safe was your journey? We just want to be prepared.
Fair enough. He's going to. He'll hail you as well, and when you mention, the order of the Gilded Hand, he will just give you like a kind of like a nod of respect, right? Ed recognizing your respects. We travel. Well, takes him a second. Actually, cannot tell you where we are coming from, but the path behind us is. He thinks for a moment, kind of mulling over his choice of words here. Well enough. How about yourself? How does the road fare from here to Valdiras?
Uneventful. No disturbances. Again, hope if you haven't had any disturbances on the way. We have a few days journey ahead of us, at least. Your journey to the city will be safe, as far as we've seen it.
That is good to hear. I believe you the same, but I make no promise. And you can see as he's talking to you all, his eyes are scanning you all, right? Like he's taking a very careful look at you all. Despite the kind of nonchalant approach, the fact that nobody's really got their hands on their weapon or anything along those lines, this guy is in his position for a reason, right? So he keeps a very close eye on the four of you in the cart, in the wagon, and even looks like he is paying attention to the state of the horses that you are traveling with. So as he's getting a rundown, let me roll something. Okay. So if that is all,
yeah, like this is gonna look back, and he's assuming everyone else just wants to keep going. Like there's no point in drawing more unwelcome attention, I guess. So he's gonna tip his just do a quick salute, or just tip his fingers to his forehead and go, "Safe travels," and we'll be on our way. And he will try and just observe and see if in some if there's any blood or anything on their armor or on the wagon. Just
yes,
as it's just like a passive investigation or perception.
Yeah. Roll me either one. In passing. As you
just a regular perception check, I guess.
Yeah, whichever. But yeah, they will. With a turn of his head, as he breaks contact with you all, he'll look to the others, and then quickly they'll start to move forward with a 22. As you take a look at their armor as they pass by, for the most part they are perfectly clean, except one of the well-armored knights. Despite how clean they all look, it seems like this one missed one. There's what looks to be a type of black ichor pulled down near his boot, and even off of the sheath of his blade. But beyond that, and you just see it kind of briefly as they pass by.
All right. I'll share it with the group as we pass out of after we 40-50 feet away from them. And I think once we pass them, I'll ask to get back on the wagon we can ride at normal speed.
Okay.
But we'll wait for Escucha to get on as well.
Fair
I'm
enough.
guessing.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, you wait till about 50 till they're well past, and you know, even if you were to look back at the wagon, you would just see the dust kicked up by the horses. Yeah, you climb in, inform the others. How long would Escucha wait before emerging from the underbrush and returning to the wagon?
Yeah, you said the terrain is hilly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
almost
where-
like cliffs, like like leading up a mountain where, you know, there's just like jagged rock. The roadway that you're on passes in between, so you have like large spires of rock on either side occasionally, and then like normal hill land.
Yeah, when they're like across the next hill, like the one we came over, then
Okay,
Escucha would wait like 1 or 2 more minutes before like rejoining the group, and when he does, he is visibly like still shaking in anger, and has still his weapon drawn and strongly grasped that his veins push out of his skin when he gets back and rejoins the others.
Okay. So, Escucha rejoins the 4 of you. Very obvious in description. All right. So Escucha, you'll just take back the reins and get back on the road. Seems. Go ahead, Ignis.
Well, Escucha seems a bit angry, I guess. So, can I try to calm him down with diplomacy? Just like try and just smooth things over a bit. Like, you seem very angry, my friend. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think first we should just do a conversation, and then we can like decide.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
That man is a killer. His hands and the hands of his men are stained in blood. He's not a good man.
It's a good thing you're saying words like this away from the city, because that is a very high-ranking member of the Gilded Hand.
This is the city is not really safe for anyone, as long as one is determined enough. Jesus, their time will come. That's what I believe. But Escucha is like calming down. He's not like running in rage anymore. But he's obviously like not happy.
Yeah.
Why did you say the man's well known for his charity and his outreach to those less well off than himself? Why do you say he's so cruel?
Is he like particularly cruel?
In your past, absolutely, but to the others,
Yeah,
probably not. Right? Probably the exact opposite.
let's just say that the softest of smiles often hide the most dangerous of men. Let's leave it at that for now. If you're lucky, you will never see that side of that man. And if I'm lucky, I will only see it like once more my entire life.
Something to consider is, I don't know if being good will get you very far ahead in the City of Laws. So, he may have been cruel once. Maybe he's making amends?
Well, even in this city, there's some places where the law simply does not reach. In some circumstances.
Though only exists if it is. those gods there who supposedly give out law only do so if it benefits them.
Oh yes, my friend. There are gods where the world would be a much more just place with the supposed justice they bring.
So, with maybe a bit of revealing information, you all continue your journey forward. Beyond just that interaction with the Lord himself, the rest of your day passes by maybe a bit boring, right? Not much interaction. Clear road as well. You do not see anybody else on your way further out. Again, another evening comes. You all settle alongside the road, and as you all sit around the fire, eating whatever rations that you have. Oh, by the way, every time we go through one day, you should be using one ration. Sorry.
Okay, so
yeah.
do we lose two
So it's
by
been
now,
two.
or do we
It's been
lose
two.
one? Two.
Yeah, two.
Okay.
This will be the second, technically, right? Well, we'll say like we'll do it like one at the end of each day, but the idea is that throughout the day you're eating a little bit each time. So as you all rest by the fire, having the bit of meals that you've come across, you all have a few options in hand. The path forward from here carves through some pretty steep canyons. In the past, it has been known that this is an area where common banditry occurs. The common banditry that you've heard about and have been told to essentially ignore within the city of Valdiras. Cutting through it, at a point there will be a crossroads. So, this is probably a discussion to have prior to coming to the crossroads to determine which way you go. One path is a bit longer overall. It takes you a bit higher upside the mountain before cresting back down, while the other is lower, faster. But you have heard, if you're going to continue sticking to the road at least, that this is this is the common one where people, get interacted with bandits and the sort. So it is much higher risk taking the shorter route, but you get there faster. Less risk to head up into the, kind of like the cresting around the mountains, not around, let's say alongside, before kind of coming back down into the valley below, on your way to Terius.
This solemn, their just natural presence revitalizes plants as they go, yes? Or is it more like an active?
Their natural presence, yeah, as they travel. And they are known to be traveling, or seen traveling, dragging a large black coffin. But
as far as we know, the solemn is like a couple days away still. Right?
Yeah, absolutely, still a few days away. Right, you're trying to catch up, and you're assuming since you're on wagon, you definitely will catch up eventually. But yeah, the description of the solemn specifically is that, kind of life springs up around them as they travel. The common description of which is, plant life and things of that nature. We'll go Shad and then Ignis.
This is a question for the DM. This is common knowledge for the area that we've got a fast, dangerous way, a slower, safe way, yes?
Correct. Yeah, this is a very common, basically like commonly known for people in Valdiras because the path to Terius is so well traveled. Right.
With this in mind, what is the difference in travel time if you move the longer route at full speed and the shorter route at half speed, keeping watch?
So, shorter route at half speed, we'll add on. Okay, so the longer route, in general, right? If the, ideally, you'll be catching up to the Solemn within 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks to return, right? So that was the first thing. All the way to Terius, though, is a bit longer than that. So we'll say in the context of reaching Terius rather than the Solemn. The longer route adds an additional week to travel. To travel the faster route, but at half speed to keep watch. I would say they're probably comparable. Maybe by a day. Maybe traveling the faster route by a day at half speed, you'll get there a day earlier.
With that in mind. Well, boys, we could cut through this little gap here, and well, might be a bit thorny in there, but could make good time. Or, from what I hear, we could go around, and it's plain sailing. But, who wants to live forever?
Beautiful sights as well. So, in case you're interested in that.
Shit, I'm sold.
Yeah, it's the scenic route. We'll go Ignis. Escucho.
You know what? I'm gonna go after Escucho and Time Lord.
Okay, all right. Escucho.
The gilded man, the man from the gilded hand earlier. He's nothing if not decisive in his actions. He probably he has probably taken the shorter route, and he probably left nothing alive along it, which could cause harm. I propose we take the shorter route, but probably just still at half speed, just to be safe.
All right. Hersian?
Arcion will kind of think about it for a moment. Think about the two paths. Hearing about it probably for the first time.
Yeah. I guess you'd be the only person who's not necessarily familiar with this, since everybody else has kind of been around at least a few weeks.
If there's two paths in this Solon we're chasing, vitalize plants near them, shouldn't we take the path with the liveliest plants?
So, alright, in that case, Ignis is gonna ponder what Escucho said and what Hersian just said, and he's gonna just say, well, I have a bit of training with natural things and herbal components, so let me take a look at if I can determine which path is fresher natural blooms or something of that nature. So I've got offhand I've got lore herbalism, which I want to roll and see if that's like just to get an idea of which path has fresher greenery, basically.
All right. When we get there, we'll go ahead and roll for that.
All right, sure. That's like I'll leave it open for now, but I will also mention to the group that Ignis is also going to mention to the group. While Escucho is right that they're well armored, I did notice a black substance. This is probably residue from something they killed or fought couldn't identify it offhand. But if we do go down the straightest path, there may be resistance. Keep that in mind. I'm amenable to going either way. Speed is more important, but it's more important to get it right.
All right. Tsano.
I'd just like to mention that time is a factor here. We are following someone who is not staying still. It would be best to catch up with them sooner rather than later when they may have moved on to somewhere we cannot follow. I'd suggest the shorter path and perhaps a little more haste than has been suggested.
I agree. Let's crank this baby.
Yeah, then he probably hasn't changed, and that he killed something along the road might be true, but that just makes the roads safer for us, I think. Full speed should be fine.
I doubt we'll ever find an entirely safe road unless we happen to get our own nightly escort as well.
Yeah, in that case, I think we basically agree to take the shorter road at full speed. Is that correct?
Okay. So,
Although,
the decision.
if you did want to check for the plants.
Oh yeah. I think the only
Yeah.
hesitation would be that
Uh,
when you get there, you'll
yeah.
check the path to see if there's any indication that you could find out maybe a more direct road to Valdiras. There's the possibility, right? I mean, this guy is a massive figure, dragging a large coffin. So, how fast could he move? And he moves on foot. He doesn't travel with horse or anything like that. So, but with no other indications, the plan is to go the more rumored dangerous route to make up in time lost, by the path ahead. So, you all rest for the rest of the evening, taking watch however you see fit, and before long the sun rises, and you all saddle up back together onto the wagon and continue your path ahead. So, either way, you have to make your way into this kind of deep canyon area. And as you start to travel, I mean, you can see them up ahead, right? You see that the road that you're traveling kind of cuts down into them, almost like a river would, right? An old river that kind of made its way through that is long since dried up. The smooth stone on either side of you, but still high up, at least 15 feet or so, onto these canyon tops that still have grass and trees above you. So there is a bit of shade as you travel down. And as you start to move through, before long, just up ahead is the crossroads, right? The two splits in the path forward. And this too kind of looks like a river splitting, curving around a large plot of land that is held against the water. Roll me perception checks. All right, so Etsano, and I'll say Ignis. The two of you notice on approach, there are two figures basically standing at this crossroad that you can see. it is not clear. You don't see, like, they look like wanderers, right? Traveling by foot. There's no wagons, there's no gear in sight. Right, there's not like a camp or anything. There are just these two figures, each of them kind of blocking either way. But they're just stood there with their backs turned. Maybe one isn't turned completely away from you, but more to the side. But you can't get a good look at them. I'll say for the rest of you see these figures. We don't. No, actually no. I'll say that the rest of you have yet to see them. You're kind of focused on other things, keeping yourself busy, so to speak. But on approach, yeah, there are these two kind of strange long clothing, two random figures just standing in the path ahead.
Are they humanoid in cloaks, or like
Yeah,
they're
humanoid.
people? They look like people, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The outline, the natural height of them, they look like humans. They're just kind of stood there. Yeah, again,
Can
one
we
with their back
make
to you.
out? We can't really make out any armor or any weapons or anything except for like just the profile, right? Or
Yeah, basically just a
can we make
profile.
out anything? Okay.
Is there
So I guess Ignis is sorry.
sorry? Is there cover around? Is enough to sort of hide people who might be in ambush or anything like that?
The only cover that could possibly be around at this point, I mean, they would have to be hiding like fully around the corner, right? So up and to your right, essentially taking the right path, which is the short path. There's a large like canyon, right? So like it turns, and so there could potentially be somebody, but they would, by the time you turn the corner, they would still be a bit far, right?
Sure.
No real chance to kind of hide right up close. It's not like a sharp corner, right, to hide like on one side completely unseen.
Okay.
But beyond that, potentially people above you, standing atop the large cliffs that you kind of travel in between.
We got some company up ahead, folks.
They seem like people. Just be on your guard.
How
I would
high
say
up?
have
Sorry.
your
What's that?
I just wanted to know how high the cliffs around us are.
15 feet.
And like and we can just like spot the cloaks and like, and the people are like standing still.
Yeah, they're
at the
standing still.
crossroads?
They're not moving at all.
And they're definitely cloaks. These aren't statues or anything, are they?
Yeah, I'm gonna say on approach you can see moving.
I really don't like this. Why would you just stand there at the crossroads? Like, what purpose could they possibly have?
well, there are two of them. They're not three of them. If there were three of them, that would be a cause for concern. But
Two of them that you can see.
well, two of them that we can see. If there's a third, there is the the folktale, the legend. Not the legend. The Gleeful Three. You've heard of these creatures, right?
I can't say I have. My educational folk tales are probably very different from yours.
Well, they're I'm not sure what to call them. They basically it's a good move to avoid traveling in or interacting with a group of three strangers because they may not be people. But I would say we should have our weapons prepared just in case. And he's gonna say this on Sheila's longsword, and just have his like instrument, his bell, ready in his other hand.
I'd personally like even liked to scale the wall to see if anyone is hiding up there. But the wall seems a bit high, so if anyone could lend me a hand. And, like I assume the wall is tied with like someone. It was 15 feet, right?
Yeah. I'll say that you can make an athletics check to check how well you can scale
Can
it.
I
But
can I assist him with an athletics check? Like just give him like a just give him a hand up or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trained in athletics, so I think I should be able to do it. Maybe.
yeah, aiding is also a check. So yeah, attempt a skill check. And depending on what you roll, you'll give a circumstantial bonus, or possibly a circumstantial penalty. With the 21, that is, yeah. So you'll gain a +1 bonus to your athletics check, as Ignis kind of gives you a hand, or kind of holds his hand together to try and help you push you up in the air.
Can I use acrobatics as well, or does it need to be athletics?
Yeah, I'll say let's go ahead and try acrobatics. So 17 total. Yeah. So what is half your movement speed? Your movement speed is 25, so I think half of that is. I don't know how they. Damn, that's how they do it.
12 or 13. It's round down around that. Right?
Yeah, but everything is kind of in
Pathfinder is round
fives,
down.
so I think it's probably.
Oh right.
So it's probably 10, right? Probably how they do it. Yeah, so I'll say you start to climb, right? So in this action, you'll be able to make it up 10 feet side of this cliff. You'll continue climbing next action to reach the top and kind of see over. But how is this going? So have you stopped the wagon entirely, or are you continuing to approach?
As I'm the one who's like probably still steering the wagon, I would have to stop it first.
Oh yeah, so wagon is stopped.
Well, it's up. Ignis is out of the wagon, so he's just out of the wagon to help this creature out, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say you stop at about 40 feet. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
okay. All right, so
Sounds good.
So okay, so starts to scale 40 feet. Let me do this real quick. Okay. All right. So is there anything anybody else wanted to do? I want to make it clear before we move into this next part.
Arsenal's just gonna have his halberd in one hand.
Okay, so you got your halberd in one hand. So weapons drawn. Anybody else?
Just keeping an eye on the two on the road, making sure that they're keep whatever they're doing.
Perfect. Okay.
Chad would like to cast a shield on himself.
So you'll cast shield?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and cast it so it uses the slot, I believe. Oh, it's a cantrip.
Trip.
Either way. I'll put it on you. Spell effect shield. Perfect.
Oh, just before we start this, Izzano gave us an elixir that would expire at the end of the day. Did he give it to us this day, or do we...
Every morning I'm going to be handing out one of those elixirs to everyone.
We'll just assume that it's...
All right, sure, yeah.
What is the elixir called?
It's 1 second. I can minor elixir of life.
Oh, yeah, I believe you'll find that under consumables, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, minor elixir of life. So, all right, perfect. So, let us go ahead and do this then. So a few things have changed here. So, all right. So, as Escucho starts to scale, climb upside this wall, the rest of you have stopped and sitting in the wagon. As you are watching, kind of with bated breath, waiting for what's to come, one of them, these figures, will... one of them is completely just staring down this path, right? But this one here turns and kind of notices a sound. Maybe as Escucho is climbing, a small chunk of rock slips out and kind of crackles down to the ground. That'll be when this figure turns. And as they turn, you see on their face, you see them in full clear view. Much of their skin has faded away. There are chunks missing. You can see bone piercing through. A sunken eye that has a sunken hollow like eye. But the single one turns, and you hear just like a ugh as they turn, and that seems to gain the attention of the other one, and these two will start to move to you. So we're gonna go ahead, and it is probably best to roll initiative here.
Hey, as a reaction, could I use my Call to Arms focus spell?
Call to Arms focus spell as a reaction. Let's see.
+2 status bonus to each ally within a 20-foot emanation for initiative roll.
You went
Yes, temporary
full
hit
quiet.
points.
Yeah.
It literally is 1 hit point, but
Okay. +2 status bonus. As a reaction, I'm gonna say unfortunately not yet. The way initiative works, we kind of fall right into it. The same way like Carl's initiative will actually be the acrobatics check that he had made. So you have a 17 on that. And I'll update that for you. But for the rest of you, I will need you to roll initiative.
do you want us to use a specific skill or?
It's going to be
thing?
perception as the basic, unless you have some sort of argument for another skill.
Can I still like use like surprise attack in any way?
Let's see.
Or do I have to use the climbing action? It makes sense to use the climbing
Yeah,
action.
unfortunately, I have to use the climbing action. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is
All right. But yeah, if you want to use anything other than perception, you have to make the argument for it.
I wanted to use deception, but I couldn't think of a good argument.
Yeah. All right.
hey,
Perfect.
look over there!
Yeah. Hey, look over there. What's going on? So let's go ahead and switch the music up and roll right in. So. Okay. So, as we begin, Persian, you were the first to truly see what these creatures are. You see through what they are. These are some form of undead, and they are starting to slowly kind of shamble in your direction.
Yeah. He is just going to... He knows there's something... He knows there's something extremely foul and profane about these creatures. So he's not even going to hesitate. He's going to leap out of the cart. Is it difficult terrain, or is it...
No, this road, all down, basically everything you see that it's not like this rock wall is gonna be okay. Like, I guess if you
Okay.
tried to travel and like climb this rock, it would be like difficult terrain.
Is this
Yeah.
okay right here, or is that like elevation?
No, I say that's fine. This is just like side grass, right? That kind of frames the road ahead.
Because I'm not raging yet, I'm gonna go ahead and Harrison's gonna stop, and the tattoos on his body are gonna glow for a moment. He's gonna open up his mouth, and I believe it's like it
All right. So first
He
action
is-
was moving. Second action.
Yep. is going to be to cast Produce Flame.
Okay. Who are you targeting?
I'm targeting the zombie down here.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Roll to attack. That is a
Ooh.
critical hit. So
Ooh.
go ahead and roll critical damage, and then is there anything special for? No, they just take the 1d4.
On a critical
Double damage.
success, they take a D4 persistent.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So roll critical damage. Perfect, and then they'll take 1d4 as well. Perfect. All right. So. And then they'll also take that, and they have the 1d4 persistent on them. Perfect. So, let's see, what is this? Okay. All right. You step forward, you jump off, and then you produce flame. The fire, you hurl the fire into this creature. Wait, me. Oh, you know what? Whoops. They. I used the wrong one. They have to take double on this
Yeah,
first one.
it didn't.
There
It didn't
you
give
go.
me a prompt for double.
Yeah, my bad. It's they just take double damage. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So the fire crisp into them, and you can already smell, even from this distance, as the fire hits, the singed, kind of burning smell of flesh.
Mhm.
And is that your full action?
That's my full turn.
Okay. All right. Ignis.
So Ignis is going to. Can he see both of them? Yeah, he can see both of them.
Yeah, you can see both of them.
So yeah, I can see both of them. They're both similar kinds of creatures, right? Similar kinds of undead. It looks like. Right?
Yeah, very much so.
And they're okay. So what I'm gonna do is
Oh, I should also make note that as the fire hits this one here, it reels back momentarily and unleashes this like nasty, loud kind of screech that echoes off the canyon walls around you.
Oh man. Alright, so Ignis is gonna do the very first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna take his bell, his sacred implement, and he's gonna rummage around. He's gonna try and exploit the vulnerability of the undead. That's his first action. And if that
Okay.
works, then we'll see what else I can do.
Fair enough. Slow. Let's see. Let us see.
So it's basically I'm gonna make a esoteric lore check, and it's gonna go be compared against the zombies class DC.
Okay. Within 24, absolutely. And so, you are learning the creature's weaknesses. Alright?
Yeah. So the way I think it works is with mortal weakness. What it does is if there's more than one type of creature, if, like let's say like in this case you've got two zombies, so basically my the weakness, the attack that I can have on them will apply for any zombie, like any creature of the same type. The alternative, the weaker version is the personal antithesis. That's only for that specific creature.
Yeah,
So if
absolutely.
it's a success, then I'll go for mortal weakness. So in this case, this is like one thing that I was kind of curious about. Like in this case, my what happens is you get the
Yeah, so you recall an important fact about the creature, learning its highest weakness, or one of its highest weaknesses if it has multiple of the same value, but not its other weaknesses, resistances, or immunities. You can exploit either the creature's mortal weakness or personal antithesis. Your unarmed and weapon strikes against the creature also become magical if they weren't already. So,
it doesn't change the damage type. So if I'm attacking with the longsword, it's still slashing damage, but I'm doing additional like weakness damage, which is like in this case is like +2 or +3. I think.
yeah, it looks like
Here. So the weakness is weapon strikes equal to 2 plus half your level. So it's just going to be like 2 plus 1 or 2 plus 0.
yeah.
This is the thing. I don't know if it's coded in Foundry Republic. Sorry, I apologize to everyone for like cluttering this up. With
No, that's okay. You'll be able to. I think you'll be able to choose, right? You get to choose in one of these two ways, right? You either choose mortal
Yeah.
weakness, which allows you to activate the highest weakness.
What it doesn't say is like activating. What does that mean in terms of damage? That's what it doesn't say. Like, does it just mean it just gives you that weakness of 2 plus half your level for both of them, or is it just? That's what like haven't been able to find out.
Yeah,
Like-
let's see. Or tempting process, like pose custom weakness. Wait, one that isn't. Okay, so resonant bit of esoterica to attune your attack to discovery. Activate the highest weakness you discovered. Oh, okay. So, yeah, exactly. You would basically activate the highest weakness, right? But if you do personal antithesis,
It's only for that specific creature. It's only against that.
you improvise a custom weakness on a creature by forcefully presenting and empowering a piece of esoterica that repels it. That'll be like they'll gain a weakness against your unarmored, and it'll equal 2 plus half your level. So you'll get what, 1, I guess,
Like,
plus 2, I guess in this case.
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
another
so
+2 damage.
You're basically choosing to have your damage be their weakness, or to impose a weakness and gain an additional 2 plus whatever your level is.
Alright, so in this case, I'm just gonna go with the simplest one. Like, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? They're both the same kind of thing. I want to impose a mortal weakness on both the zombies, basically, and that'll be the exploit. It won't trigger until I actually attack them, so it's fine at this point. They'll be weakened to the attack I make later. I'm gonna make a 25-foot movement, and I'm going to attempt to demoralize with the Suli's like visual flare thing. Like, just, you know, put out a bit of flame on my sword and just like make an aggressive gesture at the zombie with it.
Alright, so go ahead and move and go ahead and attempt to demoralize. Also, as you target, yeah, I think you'll have a negative to this. I think it's the
But see, that's the one thing. Demoralize regular usually has a negative if they don't understand your language. But if it's a visual one, then you don't have it. I'll put it up on the thing. Give me a sec. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's one of those.
well, typically there's feet for the visual. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's there. That's one of the ancestor feats in this case.
Oh, that's the elemental embellish. Okay, I get it. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So, yeah. So, attempt to demoralize. So,
Oh, no. What? All right. It says I did have a target on it, so
Yeah.
it says-
Yeah, it did target it. But I'm just wanting to make sure something. Can it even be frightened?
Yeah, that's one of the things I was looking at. Like, they're immune to
All mental effects.
fear. Is like, this is one of those things. I don't know.
No. Okay. So, which one did you target? Was it the top, bottom one?
The top one.
Top one. Okay. So, yeah, they become frightened. So, all right. So that is your full turn, right?
That's my very long and complicated terms. Sorry,
Okay,
guys.
no problem. So, Escucho, you were hanging onto the side of this wall. You see the others start to jump into action. What are you doing?
I want to use my reaction to delay my turn.
Oh, okay. So you'll drop out and bring yourself in at the end of. I think it's at the end of another person's turn of your choice.
Yeah, I can use a free action at the end of another
Yeah.
person's turn.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the next. It's Sano.
Okay, I am jumping off the cart and moving up to here.
All right.
I'm going to use my quick bomber action to draw and throw a bottled lightning.
Okay. So.
I'll be targeting the top zombie.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hover T.
Yeah. And fingers crossed.
Bottled lightning. It does hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. So that's ignore the lower one. It's 6 lightning damage, and that thing is flat-footed until the start of my next turn.
Okay. Perfect.
And then, as drawing and throwing, that is one action for me. I'm going to bravely retreat behind someone else.
All right. So move forward. You get to draw the thing as a free action, so you toss it and then retreat. All right. So, Shadron.
Okay. Shad's quite comfortable looking after the horse and cart. He'll shuffle onto the front seat and be near the reins. He's going to target the lower of the two figures.
Okay.
What state?
Uh,
Can Shad tell what status effects the zombies have?
The status effects. I don't know if you'd know the status effect. I just know that you would be aware that the others have done something. I think you have to actually identify it to try and figure out exactly what has happened.
So is it the top one that's taken the majority of these beatings? I see this.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has happened to the top one.
Yeah.
But the bottom one has been blasted with fire. So. And
Okay,
has made a loud screech because of it.
He's going to target the bottom one, and he's going to cast Daze.
Okay.
So it's a will save.
Yeah, the creature must make a will save. Fortunately, they succeed. Oh shit. Let me show it to you. Sorry. There you go. My bad. Yeah, so they rolled a natural 19. So they will still, since it's basic, they'll just take half damage.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll
yeah, so go ahead and
roll
roll damage.
damage.
They'll just take half. Perfect. Yeah, so they'll take. There you go. All right, and so as you cast Daze at this creature, it seems like completely unbothered by it, right? Like it just kind of, it's almost like whatever you had done to it hadn't even had an effect whatsoever.
Right.
So, Daze is 2 actions, so you still have 1.
Yeah.
I can't hear you if you're talking.
No, I'm just I've not got much that I can do with just one action.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just having a quick look.
You just arm yourself.
Yeah.
He's already armed. I'll tell you what, I'll move him up behind Persian there,
Okay,
and that'll be my
perfect.
I'll jump off the wagon and shuffle up behind Persian.
Move into the fray. Is this when you want to drop in, Escucho, or are you still holding out?
I'm still holding out.
Still holding out? Okay. All right. So, next turn. Yeah, moving first. This creature will just shamble forward. Moving to there. That'll be one action. They will, yeah, take a secondary action to move right up close. And then
Oh no.
they will take a swipe at you.
Oh.
They barely miss. So, as they reach out, they swipe at you, trying to get a hold of you. But this is all mindless. It's just like a shuffle, like right as it gets closer, and just a violent kind of quick grab slash in your direction. But they miss. And I think they miss specifically because of that frightened. Or no, they would be off by one, even without. All right. Still waiting, Escucho?
No, now I want to drop in with my turn.
All right.
And
So
like
that'll
I'm
put
still
you
like,
at-
I'm still like hanging on the wall. So can I? So how does like dropping down for me work right now?
I'll say it as a free action. You can let go and just hop back down to the ground.
Okay, yeah. Then I would do that. I would use an action to draw my rapier and my parrying scabbard.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I take my second action is a movement action. The line had to like cross completely for something to be flanked, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So to be flanked, you would have to be here.
It doesn't matter. Flanking makes it flat-footed. It's already flat-footed.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Uh,
But who knows how long
Oh.
it'll be flat-footed, right? It'll be till next turn or whatever.
Until my next turn, yeah.
Yeah. So his next turn. So
Oh, yeah. In that case, I would just move like towards here
okay, perfect.
as my second action, and as my third action, I would strike it with my rapier. This is true.
Perfect. All right. So take a slash at it. It does hit. Go ahead and roll damage on that. Oh, do you have sneak attack because they're flat-footed? Is that
Yes.
okay? Perfect. All right. So step forward. Stab at them, slashing. Not slashing, but piercing through them. And yeah, the creature will fall as you rip your rapier through and kind of pull back. You feel the rapier kind of pierce through the spine, and kind of as you pull it free, the creature can't even keep itself upright anymore before collapsing to the ground. Oh wait, that'll be your turn. Okay.
Yeah.
So-
Perfect. That's my turn.
All right. Next turn. Creature that has been badly flamed will step in. And it is focusing you, Hersian.
Mhm.
And first, they will take a swipe at you as best as they can.
Alright.
Say
Ooh.
17, so they would hit.
Yep.
Okay, so you are automatically grabbed by this creature. First, you'll take 5 points of damage. So, actually I can, there you go. So the monster automatically grabs the target until the end of the monster's next turn. So you're grabbed by whichever body part the monster attacked with, and that body part can't be used to strike creatures until the grab is ended. So, you can use the escape on your turn to try and get out.
Back in a second, guys.
And so, since it has you in its hands, it's going to make a secondary attack on you.
I don't. Isn't it slowed?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, sorry. So it has 2 actions. So yeah, 1 to attack and 1 to grab. So it has you in its arms. At this point, all of you would hear from above this similar kind of groaning sound, but for Shad and Hersian, above you hear something much deeper, much more powerful, like from deep within its gut, a large sounding creature kind of releasing like an unearthly growl. And so these creatures standing at the edge will come into clear view. Wait, are they seen or not? There we go. Okay, throw that. All right. So we'll add them to initiative for the next round.
Guys, sorry, I just got a quick emergency. My kid fell from his bed. I'm gonna check on him. I'm
Alright, buddy.
back in a bit.
Alright.
I might not be back actually. So, play me out for this session. Sorry, guys.
All right, buddy. Yeah.
No worries.
Hope your kids are alright.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we could also make a decision to pause here because we're running up near the 2-hour mark, and this combat is probably going to be a bit timely with the with the reveal of this large, massive zombie brute-like creature kind of standing at the edge, roaring and kind of looking down at you all. If that'll work for you guys, I'm okay with it as well. But if you guys want to push through, I'm also okay with that. I'll leave it as a group decision.
I'm happy to leave it here. The drugs
Oh
are
yeah,
stacked.
yeah. You've got the drugs going on too. Okay.
These painkillers are making me a bit loopy. So.
Perfect.
That's 2 out of 3. That's 2 out of 5 that are struggling, isn't it? Yeah. We're at 2
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay. So we'll pause here. I'll make sure this all saves. And I'll make sure everybody keeps their spot for next time. Just to ensure that everything is perfect and ready to go when we come back around. So, all right, we'll pause it here. Let me go ahead and sign out on the stream and everything, but I'll be back in just a second. 1 minute. All right. Well, a bit of an early stoppage, but it comes with kind of a pretty cool reveal. A massive hulking zombie brute standing above them, while across the side there are other hulking, well, not hulking, but more of these shambling zombies. So we'll see where it goes, and we'll have to continue the battle come next week. So thank you all for hanging out. Yeah, real life is a bit more important than a session. It's one of those sessions, it just kind of happens. But we'll be back next week, and we'll be continuing right in the middle of combat. So hope you all enjoyed. There's no such thing as real life. Yeah, absolutely. So hope you all enjoyed. Look forward to continuing this battle. We'll be back tomorrow to continue our second session of this series of campaigns. And this is interesting. Go ahead and join our Discord. We've just now started this series of campaigns, so it'll be a while, but the best place to be if you'd like to get involved and possibly play in a future campaign will be in the Discord. So that is where I recruit first. But thank you all. Hope you have a good day or a good evening, depending on where you are. And hopefully we'll see you next time. So later, guys. Peace.